wanted to do. And I talked to her for about 45 minutes about some ideas and got her ideas. And finally she said, "Mr. Ambassador, why are you so optimistic?" And clearly she was not. And I said then for the first time I said this, I've said it since, but the first time I said the following. I said, because ideas win. Ideas win. All of the people who don't want the world to be remade, all of the people that want the world to be the way they want it to be because it's in their advantage, all the people who are corrupt, all the people who are dishonest, all the people who don't care what the world looks like 20 years from now, all those people, they don't have any ideas. Economics is not an idea. Trade is not an idea. Ideas are the things that we talked about just a moment ago, the ideas that make a world. And we need your ideas. I have an acquaintance that is one of the most wonderful people in the world. His name's Wendell Berry. And Wendell Berry said, "We have lived our lives as though what was good for us is good for the world. We have been wrong. We must learn that what is good for the world is good for us, and learn what is good for the world in order to accomplish it." And he also said one other thing. It's the last thing I'm going to say. "Do unto those downstream as you would have those upstream do unto you." You are downstream from me. And I can promise you this, for the rest of my life, I will promise I will do nothing to do any harm to you, and I will do everything to help you make a better world than the one we have now. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you for being my partner and letting me be your partner in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Cardin, for that very inspiring message. Right now, I have the honor of introducing our next speaker this morning. He is the chairman and CEO of Ayala Corporation, the oldest business house in the Philippines. It was founded in 1834 and was listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange in 1976. It regularly ranks among the top Philippine companies in terms of market capitalization. Through its subsidiaries and affiliates, Ayala maintains a leading presence in real estate development, banking and financial services, telecommunications, water distribution, electronics and information technology, automotive dealerships, and business process outsourcing. Ayala has also recently expanded into power generation and transport infrastructure investments. Apart from his responsibilities on the board of the Ayala Group of Companies, Mr. Zobel is a member of various international and local business and socio-civic organizations, including the J.P. Morgan International Council and the Mitsubishi Corporation International Advisory Committee. He's also chairman of the Harvard Business School Asia Pacific Advisory Board, a trustee of the Harvard Business School Social Enterprise Initiative, a member of the Harvard University Asia Center Advisory Committee, member of the Harvard Global Advisory Council, and the list goes on and on. He's also on the board of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation and chairman of the World Wildlife Fund Philippine Advisory Council, and a member of the International Business Council for the World Economic Forum and Philippine representative to the APEC Business Advisory Council. Mr. Zobel studied at Harvard University, where he earned his BA in Economics in 1981 and his MBA in 1987. He's married to Ms. Elizabeth Eder Zobel de Ayala and has 4 children. Aside from being chairman and CEO, he also enjoys adventure, motorcycling in his spare time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala.
Thank you very much, and a warm welcome to all of you as well. Ambassador Cardin, those were wonderful words of inspiration, and thank you as well for joining us here today. Thank you also to the U.S. Embassy for trusting the Ayala Foundation with this undertaking. We've always been very engaged with the youth in any way we can, and building on Ambassador Cardin's words, which were wonderful. Let me just add a few words of my own, but thank you for allowing us to participate in this wonderful gathering. Leadership has always been at the forefront of everything we believe in the Ayala Group, and more than a decade ago, we started our own leadership program here in the Philippines to encourage youth to look at leadership in new ways. Many of the representatives from the Philippines here today have gone through that program in one way or another, and it came from a fundamental belief that leadership, particularly when you're young, you tend to look at aspirational figures and just mold yourselves along very defined lines. And I've always believed that leadership is actually a very individual thing. There is no right or wrong way to lead. And one must be true to one's character to provide the right kind of leadership. People can tell if the leadership that you're showing, that you're portraying, is not true to yourself, then people don't get inspired by it. And I think at a young age, people are confused. They're not quite sure what leadership model to follow. And we've always believed in the Ayala Group that people must nurture their own sense of leadership. And that takes a dialogue, that takes learning from others, that takes moving in different circles and looking at different multidisciplinary areas of leadership, and not just following one model or the other. And a lot of it also involves some introspection, understanding who you are, what you believe in, what your own character traits are, and building on all those things. And some of those things just don't appear because you're sitting in a room reading a book. It comes from dialogue. It comes from learning. It comes from learning both from peers and from people above you. And in many ways, gatherings like this are catalysts in many ways to encourage you all to explore those aspects of leadership. So for those reasons and for the many very eloquent words that Ambassador Cardin mentioned, we're just delighted to be part, I guess, of this undertaking that encourages, I guess, a whole new dialogue on leadership. The second layer, which Ambassador Cardin also mentioned, which I'd like to echo, is the importance of the Asean area to all of us in this day and age. All of us have grown up in our own countries. We're dedicated to our own countries, but we're only really increasingly relevant if we see ourselves as part of a bigger whole. We can fight for our country. We can work hard and continue to build it. But in the end, very little can get done these days without the independence that comes from the new global environment. For that, we have to get together, we have to dialogue, we have to understand each other, we must have empathy for the feelings of other people, and that comes from understanding other cultures, other people. And it's only in meetings like this that you begin to get an inkling as to what people feel. You can read, you can see, you can watch movies, you can listen to other paradigms, but it only comes from human interaction that you really get the deep understanding. So as you go through this program, I hope all of you will use the occasion not just to have fun and learn, but to have deeper understanding of what your fellow delegates are all about. Sometimes that comes from listening, and really listening, and understanding what their feelings are. They may be opposed to what you believe in, but from that understanding you gain empathy, and that empathy someday, when all of your leaders and responsible, I guess, for your areas of expertise, you will have an understanding that hopefully will lead to peaceful resolutions to issues rather than conflict. We're delighted to be part and parcel of this undertaking. There's so many learnings. 3 days probably won't be enough for all of you, but I hope you'll build friendships. I hope you'll build common understanding, and I hope you'll build a network, which is so important in this day and age, of people that you can count on, I guess, as you move on and provide your own mold of leadership as you move on. There's so many topics one can cover, but we've decided to focus on 4 main themes: the issue of livelihood, the issue of education and awareness, the issue of environment, and the issue of human development. 4 themes that I think are quite rich in and of themselves, and hopefully will give you a broader understanding of many of the issues, I guess, that drive our environment at this point in time. We also thought that one way, aside from the field trips that you will take, of understanding at a deeper level, what leadership can provide and what the issues we all face are, is to invite really excellent organizations to share their thoughts with you all. And we just have a great roster here that have been invited, people and individuals and institutions that actually have been involved in one way or another, been lucky to. We have the Gawad Kalinga Group. We have Kickstart Ventures, which we've supported through our Globe Telecom Group. We have Centex on education. We have the Rappler Group, which has provided a whole new way of delivering media and a whole new way to what traditionally has taken place in the Philippines. We have the Worldwide Fund for Nature, which I've been a part of for many, many years and helped start, I guess, their Philippine national operation many years ago. We have the Philippine Business for the Environment. We have the Asia Society. We have Teach Peace, Build Peace Foundation, and of course the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, which I chaired a number of times in the past and remain very close to in one way or another. These are extraordinary institutions led by great people, very engaged, low-key, low ego, but doing, making a great difference, I guess, in the world we live in. So I'm just here to welcome you all, to thank you all for giving us this opportunity to host you in the Philippines, and to wish you much success. Above all, have fun, enjoy it, and hope you also get to know our country a little bit. It has gone, as Ambassador Cardin mentioned, through a great deal of suffering at this point in time, but resilience and hope is always there, I guess, in the Filipino spirit, and I have no doubt that we will rebuild and move ahead and continue to be part, I guess, of the future that is so rosy for all of us here in ASEAN. So welcome, Ambassador Cardin. Thank you again for your wonderful words to the U.S. Embassy. Thank you for trusting us, and I look forward to participating at different stages in your gathering here. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Mr. Sobel, for warmly welcoming all of us for this conference and putting the conference into deeper context as well. Thank you. At this point, I have the honor to introduce our next speaker. Let me tell you a bit about her. She was appointed Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public Diplomacy in the Bureau of East Asian and Pacific Affairs in October 2012, and she previously served as Director of the Foreign Press Centers in the Bureau of Public Affairs. She also is a career member of the Senior Foreign Service with extensive experience in Asia. From 2010 to 2011, she served as Consul General in Chiang Mai, Thailand, covering northern Thailand and the Burma exile community. She also previously was the press attaché and spokesperson at the U.S. Embassy in Beijing and the U.S. Consulate General in Hong Kong. She also served as Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City. And after beginning her career in the press office of the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok, she has lectured extensively on government media relations at journalism schools and with government spokespersons. She is a recipient of the State Department's Superior and Meritorious Honor Awards, and prior to joining the US government, she worked in product management for the Kellogg Company. She holds degrees in multinational management and French from the Wharton School University of Pennsylvania. In addition to French, Ms. Stevenson speaks Thai, Mandarin, Chinese, and some Spanish. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Deputy Assistant Secretary Susan Stevenson.
So I'm not as tall as Ambassador Cardin or Mr. Zobel, so I will stand on the stage. First of all, I want to welcome and congratulate all the delegates. Give yourselves another round of applause. You were all selected, first of all, to participate in U.S. government programs in the first place because you demonstrated leadership, potential, and interest in helping your countries. And you are here today because you have made your mark. As you heard from my bio, I joined the government over 20 years ago. And when I went to my first posting in Thailand, we did not have any sort of program to follow up on those people we invested in for our programs. We didn't have the alumni coordinators. We've got 7 alumni coordinators from U.S. embassies around ASEAN with us today. And we didn't have any kind of systematic outreach to all of you. Once we invested the money, sent you on the programs, and then you went back to your lives, and we might not have had very good follow-up. And that's why I'm so proud to be here today, because this represents the next step to show you not only did we invest in you because of your potential, but we're not done. We want to continue to work together with you. And as you heard from Ambassador Cardin, the United States is also taking a systematic approach to ASEAN. So when I joined the government all those years ago, there were only 6 countries in ASEAN. And in fact, up until 3 years ago, we didn't have a US mission to ASEAN. And we were the first observer member to have a mission to ASEAN. That shows that it is a priority for the United States. Now, I'm here as the representative from Washington, so I will give a little bit of a speech just to tell you why we went to the trouble of putting together this event this week. First of all, I should thank the Ayala Foundation for all of your support in putting this together for us, and particularly our colleagues at the U.S. Embassy in Manila, here in Manila, but really our colleagues at embassies all across ASEAN for selecting all of you and getting you here today. The United States, with the beginning of President Obama's administration, has really made a strategic focus on Asia, East Asia and the Pacific. And with the beginning of the second term, we're really looking at Southeast Asia as a priority, hence this focus on ASEAN. One of our main goals in our East Asia policy is to make sure that we are leveraging these multilateral architecture that are so important to getting things done. This includes not only the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, but also a subset, the Lower Mekong Initiative, that works with the countries of mainland Southeast Asia, of which you're represented today, and even extending to the Pacific Island Forum, which looks at a collection of 10 relatively small countries that working together can be so much more. And of course, APEC, which the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Group, which is so important to us as well. But here we're gathered together because of our focus on ASEAN. As you see from the name of this summit, what our goals are for this week is to link you with people you might not have otherwise met, so you can forge these relationships and learn to work together, to engage you with ideas. You've heard the focus and the priorities here for the week, to activate. So once we've made these connections, you've focused on the areas that you want to develop, and then of course, the last word, develop. Because what we're hoping is after this week ends, you will continue to work together. We're hoping this week that you are going to identify those challenges that are not just for your respective countries, but for the region as a whole, and that by working together, you can help solve some of these problems. We've all seen with the devastation of Typhoon Yolanda how the countries in the region have stood together and reached out to the Philippines. And we're so pleased that this summit could go forward despite this devastation because of the very resilience of the Philippine people. But we also want to add that focus to this summit to look at resilience, reconstruction, disaster relief. How can your countries work together, and how can you, as this next generation, work together as well? Now, some of you were at the Southeast Asian Young Leaders Program we had last year in Kuala Lumpur. Some of you were in Brunei with Secretary Kerry and Ambassador Cardin in October. We're very pleased that you could be, all of you, with us today, and we're hoping that this can continue. I have the great pleasure now to cue a video from someone far important than myself to help share that vision of what we want to do with you, the young leaders of Southeast Asia. So without further ado, if the technology serves right, I would like to introduce a video by our President, Barack Obama.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations on coming together for this groundbreaking ASEAN Youth Summit. And a special thanks to the government and people of the Philippines who have welcomed you to Manila, even as they continue to respond to last month's terrible typhoon. In recent weeks, we've seen our Filipino friends and partners from across the region and the United States join together to rescue victims, care for the injured and the homeless, and begin to rebuild. Because when our friends are in trouble, we help. And today, my message to the Philippines and to our allies and partners across the Asia Pacific is that we stand with you. As you move forward, you will always have a friend and partner in the United States of America. That same spirit of friendship and cooperation is what brought you together in Manila to meet shared challenges, from youth unemployment to human trafficking to climate change. For me, this is personal. Having spent much of my youth in Indonesia, your region has a special place in my heart. Your rich cultures, proud traditions, and incredible dynamism, all those things helped shape who I am, and it's shaped my approach to the region as President of the United States. Prosperity and peace in the Asia-Pacific means more opportunity for all of us, including the United States, and I want to make sure we're building that future together. That's why today I'm proud to announce a new effort, the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. We'll join with extraordinary young men and women like you on the things you care about most. We'll help you strengthen the kinds of networks you're building at this summit. We'll give more young people the opportunity to pursue a quality education in your countries, including in science and technology, and to study in America. We'll deepen the ties between us with new training and exchanges, and in partnership with businesses and investors, we'll help more young entrepreneurs start their own ventures and create jobs. I'll be making a return visit to the region this April, and when I do, I look forward to meeting with some of the young leaders who are part of this initiative, perhaps some of you, because your generation is going to define the Asia Pacific for decades to come, and I'm excited about the progress we can make together. So thank you for being here. Keep up the great work. On behalf of the American people, we're honored to be your partner.
Wow, a president right from the President of the United States of America, President Obama. Another big round of applause, please. And thank you, Deputy Assistant Secretary Susan Stevenson, for also delivering what a wonderful message, as well as the message of your president right here in Manila, and to the rest of the ASEAN youth leaders. Thank you very much.
At this point, we'd like to call back on stage our speakers for a group photo. We'd like to invite Ambassador Cardin, Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala, Ms. Susan Stevenson to come up on stage. And I'd also like to invite the following to join us for the group photo from the United States Embassy in Manila, Ms. Tina Malone, and our president of the Ayala Foundation, Ms. Luli Ares de Leon. Please join us on stage for a group photo.
Thank you very much to our speakers and the people behind this conference. Thank you. Once again, to this morning's speakers, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the hope, for the belief that you have in our youth. Thank you very much. Another big round of applause, please.
So right now, we'd like to make a few announcements.
Yes, a bit of housekeeping.
A bit of housekeeping. And it's very interesting because Ambassador Cardin earlier mentioned about the language of the youth. No? And one of the language that the youth is most familiar with is the language online, social media. So I just want to make this announcement for everyone. We're live on Twitter, and we'd like to ask everyone, all of you, to follow us on the following social media accounts. So on Facebook, we announced this before the start of the summit. So our Facebook page is Lead ASEAN Youth Summit. On Twitter, our handle is @Lead ASEAN Youth. And please use the hashtag Youth for ASEAN.
So we hope to see all of you on the cyber world as well. Okay, and we have a special surprise. There's a contest.
There's a contest
for the summit as well, online.
Right. Okay, so what we would like you to do is to go online anytime during the day. We have Wi-Fi courtesy of Globe Telecom, and we would like you to be able to tweet or post a status on Facebook and a photo on this theme today. It's called Borderless Barkada. So Leah, please explain what
Okay.
Barkada means.
Well, barkada in Filipino is actually your group of friends, okay? So please make your own barkada or group of friends for the rest of the summit and maybe even beyond the summit. That's what we'd like to see.
So we have friends keeping track of what you will post, and by the end of the day, they will choose a tweet or an FB status that best captures this theme, and a photo. It could even be a selfie or a groupie. You know what a group selfie. So that's what we call it.
Okay.
No? All right. So there. No? So post this on any of our social media accounts, and again, our judges will be spying on you. The CIA, I think, or the FBI will be checking on your accounts. That's just a joke. I might get and we will choose one winner. So, and then we will announce the theme for tomorrow. So just to get things not just energized in this room, but also online.
Okay. And before we move on, we're going to have a short break. But of course, we'd like to thank once again our partners, the Embassy of the United States of America here in Manila,
The Ayala Foundation,
the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation,
Kickstart,
WWF,
Teach Build,
Centex,
the Department of Tourism,
Gawad Kalinga,
Philippine Business for the Environment,
Asia Society.
and Rappler.
Okay. And at this point, JQ, I think we're going to have a little bit of a break.
Yep. And as you do so, please continue to get to know each other. I know that right now you're seated with people from different countries, so use this time to catch up, introduce yourselves, talk about your work, your advocacies, and we would like to see you back here after 30 minutes. And again, don't forget, once you hear that song, that's a sign that we will start very soon.
All right. So see you again at about 9:30. Enjoy. Oh, Ambassador, please go ahead.
I try to learn one new word every day. That's something I try to do. I've learned my word for the day right from the beginning, so I want to thank you, Barkada. And I also want to say what I should have said before, which is that while it's your language and the like that we're looking for, we have a Twitter page, we have a Facebook page. And we are trying very hard to get into a conversation with all of you. So I would ask you to look at the U.S. Mission to ASEAN website and join our conversation so that we can learn from you. And that made me think of it. It's not there anymore, Barkada. So I thank you for the new word. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Garden. We are happy to have you in our barkada, in our group of friends. We hope to see you again very soon as well. And guys, now please converse, interact. We will see you again at 9:30. Thank you once again to our leaders, to our guests, and our speakers. Have a good morning.
Together we reach for the sky. It's all about winning. It's all about playing the game. From the east, from the west, each of us trying our best, chasing a dream, burning to follow the flame.
Let's all stand, and
All
you
right.
know what to do.
Just to review the steps from this morning.
It seems like every day is
All right.
something else. Another reason to be stressing.
Any brave soul that wants to go up on stage?